Hey guys, and welcome to Coding Sin. Today we will review the fun process of creating lively, interactive 3D scenes for the web by Marius Ballot. I hosted a live demo on Netlify. You can find the link in the description below. I also written the article on Medium, which you can check out on the description. Let me give you a little demo of what you will create as a final piece from this project. You can find the course in the Awwwards website in Academy section. The course duration is 4 hours and 28 minutes, but it probably took me times 4, mainly because of my rustiness using the Blender software. The course is aimed for intermediate and advanced, but nevertheless, even though the curve is much steeper here, I learned some amazing things. The course was quite linear at first. Marius covered some basic aspects of using Blender, WebGL, 3JS, and shaders. In some of the videos, he talked about his professional experience, getting jobs and skills in this field, which I found quite interesting. Before creating the main project, Marius also discusses the technical and visual inspiration and the action plan. Then we arrive at creating a final project which gives you a full walkthrough from creating your models, adding GUI and UI, as well as adding fixes and improvements to perfect the scene. After the scene is created, Marius shows how to host the piece online and provides tips for collaborative working and what you can do next. It might take a bit of time to learn how to navigate the scene, and learning curve is quite steep. However, once you pass that, Blender can become the tool to complement your creative coding creations. I'll not go much further into it and I will let you explore, but still, I want to share the most interesting things I found within Blender. So let's start with texture baking. It is a very interesting concept and will save your application a lot of processing power. It means transforming a real lighting, shadows, and shaders into an image format. Blender has a variety of formats you can use for exporting 3JS. The preferred web format is by selecting GLB or GLTF option. Next, let's discuss matcaps. Matcaps act as a texture files to add material to your object. There are many matcaps available online, both free and paid options. However, here you can learn how to create your own matcaps using the node modules within Blender. There are quite a few more concepts covered, but I don't want to turn this into a Blender tutorial. So yeah, let's move to coding aspects. Finally, this tutorial uses Vue.js as a library for writing JavaScript. Marius provides starter files which contains classes for each element to load the objects into the scene and adjust them accordingly. There is a public folder with assets for additional HTML components, also a folder to store assets such as textures, models, and sound files, and a folder for shader files, and finally a folder with the utility files such as configuration for GUI. I believe all parts in this course are quite advanced, from placing the pillars around the sphere to making the wave effect around it and adding the particle effects. It would take quite a big chunk of time to go through these. Instead, I would suggest checking out the course documentation, which provide a great insight into the structure as well as the source files. You can check it out in the description below. But yeah, I just wanted to quickly talk through some of the bits I found interesting. So the first interesting concept was to place the sound pillars around the sphere, and you can read it a little bit more in my Medium article, but just to quickly show what it takes. All pillars are instantiated using one pillar, and it gets a bit more complex than placing them around the sphere. So first you would need to add the sphere itself, then you would need to find the vertices around the sphere, and after that you would need to filter different vertices on a sphere to find each vertex's X, Y, and Z position. So next one up, shaders. Yeah, shaders are a completely new world to me, but generally shaders were used mainly for the waves around the sphere in this project. Just to give you a reference, it was exported as solid object, and then with the help of shaders, it was turned into a purple wave effect. Pretty impressive, right? But how? There's a lot to discuss here, but one of the main reasons here is using simplex noise algorithm. You can use an npm package for adding this noise into the shader called glsl noise. In general, shaders are quite heavy in maths, and it's okay to feel lost in them at first. It's perhaps good to start with a very small project and try to add vertex and fragment shaders, and trying to do it with little single sphere to see where creativity takes you. And finally, we have reached the summary. I think that's quite a lot of information to process already, but there's much more to learn from this tutorial. Will I use some of the concepts I learned? Yes. I liked working with Blender, and it allowed me to experiment with different shapes and learn how to use the nodes within it. Was it difficult to follow? In some points, yes. A programming background is very useful as it exceeds all the boundaries you can do with a code, from using loops, arrays, classes, to manipulating objects' smallest measures such as vertices and points, and working with various tools and libraries. Was it worth it? In my opinion, it is a pretty impressive course and it covers a lot. This course also shows you what it takes to be a creative developer. There are no limitations once you start, but it is up to you to decide whether it is for you or not. So yeah, we reached the end now, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. Put the thumbs up if you like the content or if it inspired you at any point. And yes, happy learning everyone. See you next time.